having not been a diehard Guns N' Roses fan to begin, and I'm sure Mark sounds like a very likable guy. What compels Jason, the person, to be like, yep, you know what I want to spend the next 2 years of my life doing is working on a project for free. And I get that you're an entrepreneur and you've probably, you mentioned that you work for some tech startups and whatnot. So who knows, maybe there was some exit money there at some point and you're just sitting on a pile of money. But I'm just thinking to myself, like, most human beings don't have the vision to work on something for a couple of years for free, either because of the historical value, or maybe one day we're doing 51st gigs for all of the biggest bands of all time, and then it becomes a real business. But what motivates you to do this? You're not Mark, you're not Slash's best friend, or you're not Slash's best friend. Like, why do this?
Yeah, so it's a great question. There's a couple things to unpack here. Okay, the first and I think the most important is completing the history of this project. Right, there was work left undone, and there was work to complete, and I didn't feel like I could move on to whatever my new entrepreneurial venture would be unless I could complete this history. And that was important to me. To realize the vision of the project we had was important to me. That's number one.
Are you a guy that can't get up from the table until you finish the puzzle? Like, you're that guy, you're the engineer type where you're like, I have to complete this or it's going to be taking up real estate in my brain for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it was a tough call, I got to tell you, because there's a lot of other things I could be doing with my time. Um, I just wanted to make this right. I just felt compelled to make it right. Um, I don't think I'm the guy that can't get up from the table until the puzzle's done. I don't have that. I just felt like there were too many threads left untied on this project, um, and the material is too important for the world not to have access to. I think that's one part that drove me. The other part is just intrinsically, I love being a storyteller. And I know that, the way in which I handle Mark's Archive in this format is going to resonate with people, and it's going to be interesting. People are really going to get a lot out of it. So there's intrinsic value in delivering a product that people care about, right? That's the second thing. The third thing is if we are successful at this and we do capture even a small percent of Guns N' Roses fans, this will be a venture that has positive net results financially, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's definitely a possibility. This is going to live forever. Eventually, it's going to be off of Patreon, and it's going to live somewhere, whether it's YouTube or Spotify or whatever. Once this thing is funded, we can open it up to the rest of the world, but we can't do that until it's funded and paid for.
Yeah.
So then the last piece is that, this is the nature of doing things. Like, I've stumbled upon a really cool um, podcast strand called The First 50 Gigs. And why not open it up to other bands? And not all of them have to be on Patreon. They can be on Spotify, but I just think that there's a new way to package up not just behind the scenes of a band, but the first 50 gigs. What are the stories? And I don't think I'm not going to be the host of all those stories. There's going to be other rock and roll or other music journalists who have connections to these bands. They're going to be telling the story, but we're going to be the ones who are crafting it into these great presentations and doing all the marketing and doing we're going to be the platform, the first 50 gigs. So I think that's a pretty cool idea, and that kind of just came up out of the work that we're doing, and hopefully this pilot of that idea will be successful. So there's just there's a lot to be said about completing things that are undone, and restoring integrity where it may have gone out, and that was part of what drove me to do this and preserve one of the most unique archives in rock and roll history.